Hello and welcome to the Pride Pod here on Loud and Proud Orlando. We're here on a Wednesday night to talk all about Champions Cup because we played yesterday and got our first ever Orlando Pride a Concacaf Champions Cup win. Luis is behind the scenes. He's not feeling so well today. I don't know how much he's going to want to join in, but he is here in the background doing his thing as always. So wish him, get wells. Hopefully he'll be feeling a little bit better soon. So I'm going to ride solo. You got me, but everybody jump in the chat. If you're here, I want to hear from you. I want to know your thoughts on this epic win for Orlando Pride. It's been a while since we got a win. It's been a while since we got some goals. That was great to see. The attendance was sort of what me and Luis talked about, but we'll go over that in a second. Hold on. I've got the wrong slide there. My bad. This one. All right. We're going to talk about the first ever CCC game. We're going to talk about Luana coming back. Of course, that was a big talking point in this game. The 3-0 against Alajuelense. We'll go through the goals. We're going to look at the highlights, talk about that. Then I want to kind of quickly look at our remaining NWSL games as we get back to NWSL play against the Chicago Fire this weekend. And then finally, we'll get into some score predictions. All right, I've got some comments already. Shinta saying Chanda is at left back is crazy work, considering we're good at left back, need depth at attacking mid, which Chanda should fill. Seb talks about this on the post-press conference, I think. So it is really just a case of, like, I agree with you, Shinta. I was also kind of surprised. It was just a case of the fact that he didn't want to start, Pickett or Bello. He wanted to be able to, give them, like, just Pickett 45 minutes. And so they didn't really have any left backs. And so they put Grace there. And obviously she struggled at times, but it was kind of expected. I think she did okay. Considering the circumstances, and just kind of filled a role. So he talked about that. Elizabeth saying, get well. So that's very nice. There you go, Luis. Hope you get better. Luana was the highlight of the game, saying Elizabeth. Yes, we'll definitely talk about that. Of all side words saying second half of the game was a big improvement. The subs made a difference. I totally agree with that. Shinta says, yay, we won, but let's be honest, if we want to be the best club in the world, we be smashing teams just like that, double digits. I think there's some argument to that. Yeah, I think it was the first half we kind of struggled to break through. And then the second half, really the floodgates opened. If that happened in the first half, maybe we would have scored more goals. Obviously, I was very ambitious with my 8-0 score prediction. Luis was much closer with his 4-0 prediction. I was just kind of being very positive because I really wanted to manifest some goals and some positivity, having been a bit more negative than I usually am about this team this year. So yeah, I think Champions Cup was coming. It was a time for us to sort of shake off some of these NWSL problems we've been having. Of course, it was a rotated lineup, as we expected. I don't know if it's the full rotation that we expected. There's still some starters in there, of course. It was a mix, though, and really giving time to those players that we thought, would probably need to play in this tournament. The starting 11, I think, pretty much reflected what we thought we were going to see. I'll show it right here. So Mac Crone, Luis and I were debating who was going to get in there. So it's great to see Mac get in. Cosette I saw on the bench, so I think will probably play when they go to Panama, would be my guess. I definitely feel like she's going to get a game during Champions Cup at least. But Mac, great game, clean sheet, played well. Oyane in the back line, right back. Corey Dyke at center back, and Shavashi at center back, kind of like we expected. Of course, we talked about Grace, sort of that we did not expect at left back. Ali Limos and Via and Summer Yates. It was Ali was up the field. She moved around in several positions, but Summer was playing a bit deeper to start next to Viv. Then you had Priska out on one wing, and on the other wing, of course, we had Simone Jackson. and then Julie Doyle up front. So it looked like a good starting 11. Definitely one, of course, that was capable of beating this team. Definitely one that we felt like could go out there and get the win. And they did do that. It didn't happen in the first half as well as we would have liked, but the second half we broke through and those goals came. So let's kind of go through and see kind of how that looked. Here's the lineup on the broadcast. Of course, the bench, no Marta for this one. She was up in the stands, but
Yeah.
she didn't line up. Luis, you there, bud? You want to say something? I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, no. Sorry about everybody that had my camera off. It's just that I'm a little sick, but I just wanted to say it was a great game by the Pride. Like I think we mentioned on the last pod, the physicality was and just the way the girls are built was going to be a huge deterrent from Alajuelense.
You called
As you
it,
guys,
bro. They are not a big team.
yeah, as you guys saw it, like the first half, they were very gung ho, very ready to. I think they hit the post, one of their players. But just physically, it's just a complete different league, the NWSL, and it showed. Our B team could have scored a couple more if needed. For this particular game. I'm just happy for Julie. I'm happy for Luana, which we'll talk about in just a moment. Happy with McKinley Crone, Carson Pickett also being a game changer, which was amazing. And like I said, this is something for them to kind of take it to the regular season, which I know John and I will dive in later on too. It's the momentum, trying to regain that momentum. What made them good last season, and I just think it was great to I know that Seb is trying to look for Chanda in different positions, which I just think she's a midfielder. I will never see her as a defender, but that's just my opinion. But they're trying to make the most out of it, trying to see if she has any sort of versatility, like maybe he did with Corey Dyke last season or Emily Sams last season. But I think Chanda is built to be a midfielder. Good to see Vib. I think physically she's still kind of very, I guess, just getting into the rhythm of playing a full game. But so far, I think it was a great game. So good for them.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I think it was obviously an experiment with Chanda left back. I think, like you said, just to fill a situation, and then when she moved into the midfield, we know she can play the wing, she can play the 10, she can play deeper in midfield. She could probably even play striker if you wanted to. I mean, she's versatile like that. She's just a very good, technical player like that who can be versatile. But yeah, at left back, her positioning was not great. There was a few chances that Alajuelense got off the back of that. They hit the post we saw in the first half, and I think their goalkeeper did a pretty good job in the first half about on their back line in keeping the pride out and not giving up easy chances. But eventually, we were gonna break through even with the game changers. We didn't need all of our stars in a game like this, and there a chance from Julie Doyle. You'll see just she's not, we're just not able to make those finishes in the first half. And then the second half, really everything changes. Luis, let's go to the comments. We got a few more here.
Yeah, it says
Stream
here.
Jesus.
Stream Jesus says, Papa Pineda, can we comment at the end about Torneo de Fuerzas Internacionales? Orlando City has been killing it once again. We're the talk of the town in Mexico. Besides Sovaya, Vamos Pride. Oh yeah, the U19s are killing it over there. I think they were one of the top teams there right now, for Orlando City. And there's this new striker. I think he has a Greek last name. I forgot. I had it in my mind, but he scored 3 goals in like 39 minutes. Like it's pretty crazy. Elizabeth Eid says we need more goals. Zara played great. Yeah, it was great to see that. Shinta not even taking a sick day. Yeah, I mean, if I wouldn't have been able to talk, I would just not. Of all said words, my shoulder hurt from waving the rainbow flag for so long. This is why I never do that, LMAO. We needed to take up more space on the wall. It says of all said words. our crosses and set pieces are still weak. Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, like John was saying, I think Alajuelense did really good in the first half. Their goalkeeper had a great game, and she's not really the tallest goalkeeper. I think Mac Crone is like double her size, but she still did amazing saves. I'm just curious, how is the Pride going to look like against Club America and the like the more comparable competition. I'm just curious what Seb's going to do, because obviously I think as the Gotham was the champions last year, I think the United States has a huge opportunity to start a dynasty in winning these Champions Cups in the women's sports, in this women in the NWSL, to reign champ over Liga MX, just because the level of talent that they have is just. I mean, I mean, you saw it. I mean, I don't have to say much about that, but even the coach really praised to lose 3-0. It's the first time I actually see the Alajuelense coach really said, we take this as a learning curve, but we feel like the thermometer of Costa Rican women's soccer against the champion of the United States is huge for us to even had a shot on goal that hit the post. Um, it shows our growth as a sport, and everybody needs to support Alajuelense back home, because the girls really give their best. But we're not at the level as the United States. That's why they're 5-time, 4 or 5-time champions, world champions, and Costa Rica, and we're coming up, but we're still not yet at that level. So, but we love what the girls did. He really had a really cool praises on his team, which I thought that was pretty cool.
I also got to say that somebody, I wouldn't say who told me this, but somebody told me that the staff of the Alianza team went into the Pride shop before and bought some Orlando Pride gear because they're fans. Like, I mean, it's like,
I
I think,
mean,
like you said, with the Martha thing, and like they're coming to see a really big club, in a lot of ways.
yeah,
So it's like, this is a big deal. Like, I mean, the stadiums that they play in, and this stadium, like this is a big game. And like, I know the attendance wasn't there, but for a club of their size, this is a huge game and a big competition for them.
yeah, and the level of also, like, I know there weren't a lot of fans because obviously the scheduling is tough for people to get to the games. But in Costa Rica, it's probably less than 100 people in a game. You know what I mean? So for them, it's a huge deal. And like you said, yeah, they're huge fans of the Pride. Now, I do want to. I was gonna put it on a short. I'm probably gonna do that tomorrow. There's an interview that Ovalle spoke really kind about what her decision was on coming into the Pride, and she pretty much said it. If you live in Mexico and you have not watched the American League, like, you need to watch it. And I'm sure a lot of people watch it. I watch it. I'm a fan. She said that there were other clubs interested in her within the NWSL, but the reason what it really made a difference for her to sign with the Pride was just three things. She said how the front office said, "We're ready to pay your clause because we have faith in you, and we know you're gonna be great, and everything's taken care of." Two is Marta. That's huge for her, and also playing alongside Banda, which obviously she probably doesn't know yet, but that was so super huge. And also, she followed the Pride double last year. So she actually watched the Pride double. She watched the league last year. She's been following, and she didn't hesitate. She said when the Pride was interested, she didn't hesitate. She dropped everything and just went for the offer, like, straight up. So, what happened last season, and the way I feel the club is putting a lot of faith in, like, people like Marta. And I think even after she retires, the way I think the club is going to handle Marta I feel it's important for her to be some sort of face of our brand still. I think of the brand of the team because I mean worldwide, she's like Ronaldo telling people come join my team. You know what I mean? Like it's different when you have a mega star telling you, hey, can you come join my team? Like for some people they take it as a huge honor and because of what she's accomplished in the game. So I just thought that was really cool, and I have it posted tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I think it speaks to like that. I mean, a couple seasons ago, Luis,
Yeah, I
like,
know.
if we would no pulling power whatsoever with the Orlando Pride. Honestly, it was like who wants to go play there, because we generated that kind of environment for so many years when it was seen as a bad place to go play, and a team that was not good and a team that was not going anywhere. And then obviously Seb and Haley and the complete 180, and now you've got Ovaye, who is offers from big clubs around the world, and then when Orlando Pride comes, that's the one that she goes, oh yeah, like I want to go play there. So I think that just shows how well they've done to change the perception of the club from the outside.
100%. We have some comments here. It says, would change the level of talent to level of investment if those South American teams would put in 20% of investment. I bet they could compete. Yeah, I agree. I hope that there is a club World Cup for women. I think it'd be cool to see, how many. I think it'll be fantastic to do a club World Cup for the women. I think you'll be able to, even for scouting purposes, like it'll be huge. Shinto should have gotten some free gear. That's right. A Club America game, home or away? Um, I believe it's away. The venue is Estadio Ciudad de los Deportes. Yeah, Mexico, they have a really good infrastructure. They've hosted two World Cups, I believe, 1970 and 1986. Great point on Martas is Elizabeth and Shinta. We need that pulling power to sign a world class keeper. Yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, come on, don't,
Shinta's got one agenda
yeah,
always.
don't knock the tree down, Shinta. Come on.
I mean, that's why I want to see what Kazet could do, and I think we will see that in the next match. I also think that it's interesting that in this competition, Luis, we're gonna play some Mexican sides, and we've never been like away to a game in Mexico. Is that going to have that sort of environment like it is on the men's side? I don't know. Obviously we played Monterrey last year in the summer. The Summer Cup was the short name for it. That's like the only time we ever played a Mexican side, and we played a rotated like B side then, pretty much, because there was most of the stars were out for international duty with the Olympics. So that's our only experience playing a Mexican team. Rio, I'm sure, we'll get into that a little bit more when we talk about them. All right, let's finish the highlights here because this is where all the goals start to come in the second half. This is the first one as the buildup from the left hand side. And Simone Jackson, who was playing really well this game. Actually, that's not it. That's where she hit over the bar. Let's see, it's coming up here as a buildup. And then the ball comes in, and Julie just has a really good kind of striker's finish. I think it was Carson Pickett actually who put the cross in. So we'll see that in a second. Ball comes out off of a shot from Viv. Carson puts it back in, and Julie's just there with the sort of poachers, diving, poke it in kind of finish. We like to see that. Luis, you got anything on this goal?
On the first one for the Pride, yeah, I mean, I just, um, was that the Simone Jackson goal? Well, that's the Simone Jackson to Julie
That was
Doyle.
the Doyle from the
Yeah, yeah,
Pickett.
I'm just happy. I'm just happy for Julie. She was a menace on the left before Banda came over. I felt like her performance kind of dipped just because of the lack of minutes. But she's a phenomenal player. I just love the fact that Jackson is cementing herself to be a starter on that wing. I think she was very dangerous. And what I like about her mostly is not so much uh, the danger, it's just I see that fire I saw in a Julie Doyle last year. You know what I mean? I see that fire. Like I started seeing glimpses of the old Julie Doyle, the oil, Ali Watt coming on the second half. So hopefully we see more of that. And I think Simone did phenomenal. I think to me at least she's earned to be hopefully a starter. Hopefully Seb is able to see and reward that because that motivates a player to perform at that level in every game. And I think we need a player that, especially missing Ovalle because of politics, missing Barbara, and having a Priska that it's not kind of working out very well. I just think we need that spark on the attacking third, and I think she provides that. And just having somebody like Julie Doll, very technical and very keen for goal. I think as we mentioned on the last episode, an Alex Skur would have been tremendous to have at this time, but we have a Julie Doyle that she could do almost the same thing. So I'm happy that she was able to get that break.
Yeah, and Carson Pickett instantly coming in
Yeah,
and making a
yeah,
difference with being the left
hundred
back that we didn't
percent.
have in the first half. And then Chanda, we saw just in the highlights there, that was probably her best chance on that right side where she almost hit it, but she was playing much better as a right winger in the second half. Here's the goal by Carson Pickett that was just out of nowhere and a screamer. I mean, the ball comes out to that left side. They don't close her down. She just, takes a really nice touch, sets herself up, and just smashes it. I mean, that's like absolutely, top bins. Great, great strike. I know there's a lot of Carson Pickett fans out there. Some people are, they're not going to, let's just say, Luis, that there's some debate around her defensive abilities and can she do that still? And I think her qualities, on the ball, crossing the ball, shooting are not to be questioned, I think, at all. But I think this shows how good she is. And a lot of people like her because she creates these moments of excitement, whether that's a really great cross or in this case, she set herself up for just a really great finish. Top
No, hun-
corners.
yeah, 100%. To me, when she came to the team, she was a veteran presence. It was kind of like to fill the need to have a good, solid backup off the bench. Um, not necessarily to, and not disrespect to Carson, not to be a starter, but just kind of to show what we saw today,
Yeah, I mean, she's
like
at that age where it's
right, like a spark of of brilliance, and obviously a team like Alajuelense allowed you also to have that much space, and she took advantage of the chances, and you have to definitely give credit to that, and I think that was the best moment of the game that we were about to play.
Yeah, I mean, so then of course we see that goal. Then right after that, the 69th minute. I mean, it wasn't a lot of people there, Luis, so it just felt like a really like small environment. It was one of those games where if you like shouted something, everybody would hear, like it was that kind of, quiet and environment. It got times where it got a bit more exciting, but there were definitely some lulls and you could hear the odd shout. So when this moment happened, it kind of felt like everybody in the building was just like, oh, okay, now we're all just gonna stare at Luana until she comes on. And the ref, like, I don't know. I mean, CONCACAF refs, we won't talk about that because I don't want to talk about it. But she just took forever to make the sub. So Luana was just standing there on the sideline for so long. And everyone was just like, there's all this like anticipation and all this, excitement building as to, is she, when's she going to come on? And she almost like ran on the field too soon. They caught that on the broadcast. I actually got a really good video of this from where I was. So I'll play that for us now. Here we go. So this is the moment Luana coming on here. I mean, Luis, it's like, what what is there to say about this? I mean, it's just a brilliant story, and it's a heartwarming story, and it's obviously we've been following it from the beginning. I remember the episode we did when we signed Luana, and I was so excited and how happy I was because she's coming from Seattle and she has this pedigree, and I love a defensive midfielder, and of course, she played some games, and then this horrible news about getting Hodgkin's lymphoma, and it just ever since then it's like been this wondering of like, is Luana ever going to play for us again? So it just this moment, I think it was so wonderful, and everybody in the stadium was just uniform, and everybody was just focused on her and this moment of just like collective, joy. It was so beautiful.
Yeah, I mean it's inspirational. And this is a player that for Brazil was a huge loss. But for the Pride, I feel like probably we would have gone fully undefeated with her. Um, and I mean, it was a huge loss in within the group because she was just so loved because she's such a professional. And when she came in, it was just a full circle moment for the group of athletes, the front office, the fans. And she immediately made an impact as Luana would do. Sharp passes, shots. Holding that captain's armband with a lot of flair. It's just a symbol of resilience and never give up, and don't give a f, and just fighting for every ball. And now that she's been through this whole sickness that she's defeated, now this is a second chance for her to continue playing, doing what she does best, which is play soccer and to be an influence. And I hope, and again, that this is a momentum switch, like a click on everyone's head, that now Luana's back. And yeah, she probably won't be playing a full 90, but hope they take that boost of morale to the regular season and just keep fighting with alongside her. I think it was great for the city just to have a such a impactful athlete just make that comeback. It's tremendous.
I mean, it's a wonderful story, and not only did she come back on the field, and at that point, I'm just like, this is great. She's on the field. I didn't really have any expectations of Luana, but she came on and just started to hustle, man. Like the situational awareness, the control of the ball, the passing, and she just came out and was like, yeah, I'm ready to go. Like I'm ready to play, and she almost got an assist right off the bat with a good pass into Julie. So. We'll probably see that now if I play the highlights, actually. But yeah, I was impressed by the standard she brought straight off the bat. I mean, we know she's quality, but there was no like, okay, it's gonna take me a minute to feel my way into this game. It was like, nope, I'm here. I know how to play. Watch me do my thing. Oh, I love that moment too, Luis. Did you see that?
Yeah, that was
This is
amazing.
proud mom Marta getting the
Yeah.
video of Luana coming. I mean, that's the ultimate,
Yeah, and
under
then
pride heart moment.
her family, she, I think, FaceTimed her family as well after the game. And it's huge. It's a huge deal, and that's why it's so hard for to just for this group of players to just say, hey, we're not winning anything this year. Um, because they're so united. They're like a family. And as you saw the reactions of the players on the bleachers, also the players, Marta and Angelina, her teammates from Brazil, her family. And I do want to say the support of the club, because anywhere else in the world, and not to talk bad about any other clubs, but I don't think no one would have handled the situation better than Seb, Haley, everyone in the front office. I think they did a tremendous job on handling this with such perfection that now makes the comeback even more meaningful. So kudos to them, because I've seen clubs cutting players and leaving them stranded with situations like that. Even in the men's game. So the way the club and their organization in itself stands by their players and their athletes is just something that truly makes me even believe even more in Orlando in general, both city and pride, 100%.
I totally agree. I mean, it's a wonderful comeback for her, and the club has obviously been there every step of the way. And you could just see how much it meant to all the players, and the end they're doing all the bumps, and they've been wearing the Luana bands. We remember when Angelina hold the L up. Like, there's been so long and like so much build up to this return. I think they probably always planned for it to be this game. Luis is a good game for her to come back in, and then it finally happened. So it's great to see it. Let's finish up the highlights here, and then we're gonna read some comments. We've got the goal from Simone Jackson. But before that, as Luis was talking, we saw some highlights. Emily Sam stayed at right back, Luis, as they brought on other players. Sorry, they brought on Emily Sams at right back, and Corey Dyke was still on the field. And Corey Dyke stayed at center back, and Emily was at right back, which I thought was interesting. Usually you would think maybe they would swap back around, but maybe it just speaks to how much Seb wants to try and develop Emily as a right back at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, she's no stranger. They needed somebody to be very dynamic, also in the attack, and have that kind of play that role as maybe Alex Freeman does with City, And I think Emily provided that. Obviously, the technical ability on the 1v1 kind of, she had a couple chances, but no doubt eventually she will get that. And it gives makes Corey Dyke even more versatile, if she's able to play that center back role. And also, when you have to rotate, you have Sarah there, and people feel confident to give Kylie a little bit of a rest and have Sarah and Corey there. Um, like you said, we're gonna be facing Chorillo in this tournament next. I mean, Club America, I think, killed them 6-0. So, just imagine what we can do. So I think they're gonna get another chance to, especially Corey. I'm just happy that he's able to he's trying to find solutions on positions that he feels need a little bit of a breather and not just be so repetitive.
Mm.
uh and give the maybe the people like Raffaele and Kylie, that have had nagging injuries in the past, trusting the players that come behind, and I think they did a great job.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's sort of like the floodgates opened. I think if we'd scored earlier, maybe it would have been more goals. But Alajuelense held out as long as they could, and then finally, Simone Jackson also gets a goal with a great near post finish. The goalkeeper, who was talked about before this game, has had other good games in the Champions Cup, and had some games where she's been able to, she got a last game a 0-0 against I think it was Club America. So she can do well, but here, the near post, Simone just, if she looks up, she tries it, and yeah, the keeper's very mad at herself for letting that one go through. But a great finish by Simone, her first ever goal for under Pride. I feel like she's had a lot of chances, a lot of shots. I feel like she generates a lot of chances, Louise. So maybe now it really starts to open up for her, and she'll get some goals.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's a threat. She's a player that has a lot of edge, and she's so far she's impressed me, believe it or not. Yeah, she may not have maybe the numbers that you're looking for, but I mean, I think she can definitely get to that level. Um, if she continues performing that way. I just felt like that goal she got was bound to happen because she looked for it, with those crosses, very precise crosses. And in that instance, I don't know if she attempted to shoot or attempted to cross the ball, but the keeper just doubted herself. And I think it was the only mistake she made. But it's because, having somebody like Simone Jackson in front of you and you're just literally on your own because your center backs, your right back, your left backs are not really working. It's just you and her. She kind of doubted herself, and then she paid the price at that point.
Yeah, totally. I agree on that. Alrighty. Let's talk about the groups and how it looks so far. Of course, that was our first ever or CCC game for the Orlando Pride. We are in Group A here. Everybody has now played one game apart from Alajuelense, who played two games. It's very strange to me they have groups of five. Like, why do you have odd number groups? You're just
That's
creating
weird.
problems. Very weird. Orlando Pride are tied at the top of the table. Well, tied on points, but they're second because of goal difference. Club America getting that 6-0 over Trio, of course, our next opponent in this competition, has put them top of the table. America only managing that 0-0 against Alajuelense. They are in third place. Alajuelense still managed to be above Trio because they got that tie against America. So they are there in fourth place with 1 point. It's going to be interesting. Of course, we don't play our next Champions Cup game until Tuesday, September 16th. So that is, at least 2 weeks away from now. And we'll play two NWSL games before then in that time. This is a good point, Luis, for us to kind of look at our remaining NWSL games and where they lie. I was going to kind of go through myself and kind of talk about where we think results would come, but now Luis is here, which is awesome, so we can talk about it together. All right, Chicago against Orlando. Let's say quickly, Luis, win, lose, or draw that one. What do you think?
Well, we need to win. Um,
I mean,
uh,
Chicago are low, so we would hope we're gonna win, right?
but they have Ludmilla, which is one of the top
Yeah.
strikers in the league, just like Esther.
Mm-hmm.
We suffered a lot with Esther. Um, Ludmilla, I think, is more of a
Yeah.
physical, more like a banda in a way. So we just gotta be really careful with her. But I think Chicago is a team that we have to cap. I mean, at this point, we have to because
Yeah.
we have a pretty crazy schedule coming up, and we could dip pretty bad if we don't get a lot of wins. So this is one of the chances that we scored three goals on Chicago, and then we just got to keep treating each game like a final moving forward.
Yeah. We'll get deeper into the Chicago in a second, but of course, the word trap game is being used in the chat here. All right, Luis. Orlando Pride. Then we play at home against Bay FC. Win, lose, or draw on that one. Obviously, a home game. We hope we're going to get a win. So let's say 6 points from those two games. Then we're back
Yeah.
away against Chorillo. Then we come back into NWSL right after that. This is that 6 days where we have 3 games back to back. We're at home again against North Carolina Courage. What do you think about that one, Luis? Win, lose, or draw there?
So for Bay, I think it's gonna be a 2-1 or a 1-0 win.
Yeah,
I mean, they have
a
Kundi
tight game.
Jandi. Yeah, it's gonna be a tight game. That in that game, I feel we need to go all out with our A squad. Um,
Yeah,
with
we're gonna have
Chorillo,
to with Chorillo
with
between.
Chorillo, we can take the. And again, I don't want to talk crap about Chorillo, but we can take the luxury of leaving some players training in the States and taking the B team to Panama. And there's, I mean, you gotta be.
Like Marta might not even travel to Panama.
Yeah, I think leave Morehouse home. I mean, leave. I'll say Kylie Strom, Raffaelli, Carriabello. Like we need them for what's coming next, and I feel like as you saw with Alajuelense is a superior team than Chorrillo. So Costa Rican soccer, they have an even better infrastructure than in Panama. So Orlando should have no problem, like the B team or the C team, like annihilating Chorrillo. Like you can even put some of the ECNL girls from the Orlando Pride Academy, like
Luis
like
is
the
going
like,
wild.
yeah, I'm going a little wilder, but yeah, you can even
Uh,
go take the luxury. I mean, they're. I mean, I don't.
I don't think Concacaf would like that, but yeah, I think
Yeah,
we technically have to play our players.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah, but
I see what you're saying.
and then after that, look, I'm content. Yes, we got to win every single game, but we've always struggled against the Courage, and we've always struggled with San Diego. San Diego's gonna be a hostile environment. I think a draw on those two. I think it'll be. I'll take a draw on those two. We may drop the one for San Diego, maybe, just because they have a really good attacking third at the moment. And then what's coming next? Those two are gonna be. They have to be must win. So America, it's just to show who's boss in the region. You're the champion of the states against one of the most iconic Mexican teams. Where you got to defeat them, and then the dash. This is the thing about the dash. The dash are going to be playing with a lot of edge.
Yeah.
They're going to try to. Dulgin is going to go crazy, and she's going to have a lot to say in this game. And she's been balling,
Hmm.
so Orlando better be ready. I think those so maybe a draw against North Carolina, a draw against San Diego, or drop the points there, and then the rest. I feel like they're all have potential to be wins. John,
So Portland at home is a big game right after that in
yeah,
October.
that one's something that we need to win too.
I mean, that's the thing. We got to play the two biggest CONCACAF sides. Obviously
In the
here,
mist,
yeah,
yeah,
we're playing the Wave, then we play America, then we play Dash. Like, obviously Wave are very good this year. Dash are going to be trying to get into the playoffs and be, looking for all those points. And right after that, we play the Thorns, who are again, a difficult side this year to play. Then Pachuca right after that, Luis. So it's like the difficult games are all in that run, and then Washington Spirit right after that. I think there's gonna be a loss in here somewhere. Maybe I it's you're not gonna be able to play your all of your game changers against Pachuca and against America. In my opinion, we're gonna have to have a mix.
rotate a squad,
Yeah,
yeah,
like we're gonna have to rotate. We're gonna have a mix. So you
yeah.
know building squad experience up to this point of the season when we get to late October, September is really important. And as we end the season, like that's a massive game against Washington, and then an even bigger final game at home against Seattle, who might again. There's so many teams that are going to be vying for that sort of. They want to be a top four or they want to be in the playoffs in the 6, 7, 8 range. And Seattle will probably be in that conversation. The Thorns, etc. As we look at the table now, like it's so tight. Of course, Kansas City running away with it at the top. Washington Spirit right behind them with 32 points. Then San Diego Wave with 30 points. Then us with 28. Then Seattle Reign right behind us with 27. Portland Thorns right behind them with 26. Racing Louisville right behind them with 26. And then Gotham down in eighth with 24 points. I mean, that's 6 points separating second from eighth with big clubs throughout that with a lot of good stars in their teams that could all push, and then Angel City and North Carolina Courage, Houston Dash, all potentially vying. I think maybe it's a bit too far for Bay. Chicago and Utah are really, I don't really hope for them to get in the playoffs. I think is very, very slim.
I'll
So
try
I
to
think
target Kund. I don't know what her contract situation is for Kunda Jandi, but I'll try to right now
you're
be
interested because of Bay doing so badly. I mean, it's
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's
you
I
gotta
mean
play. Yeah, you
Angel
gotta.
City are potentially going to lose, Alyssa Thompson to Chelsea just, and they've been doing a lot better recently. So there is scope in the future to have, like Liz Ludmilla going to stay forever at Chicago
We should
if
bring it
she's
over.
doing that well and they never, figure out how to put a good team around her, right? Marta stayed with us all those years, but not every player is going to do that. So yeah, we'll see what happens with in the offseason with some of these teams down here and their big stars. Of course, Utah already lost Ali
Setner.
Setner, so that's huge. And
How's that
um,
going for her? Is she
uh,
having?
she's doing okay. She's in the mix there. They just
Is
got a
she?
lot of she's got a lot of pieces at Kansas, so she's
I,
gone to be a rotation. You know what I mean? Like she's not. They're not
that's
going to
great.
make it all about her there. She's gone to join a winning team, I think, and be one of their, of course, one of their team. They don't have to play Champions Cup either. So they're not in that. So, um, yeah, I mean, it's like they're gonna win it basically. I think, and then we'll go into the off season and everyone's going to be, who plays Kansas Current, and who could take down the Current. Can anybody take down the Current? I think, just like last year, everyone's going to expect them to potentially do the double, see if they can. But playoff soccer is playoff soccer. Anything can happen. So I think as long as we are looking like a dangerous Orlando Pride team by the end of October and we get into the deep, run of Champions Cup and NWSL games, then the offseason, there's no reason why we can't win it again if Elizabeth Ovalle comes and is firing and you've got Simone Jackson doing really well, maybe Simone Charlie doing really well. Like we do have a lot of players, Luis, that could, turn around their season and then look really dangerous. And we could have a very dangerous team come the end of the year if we, turn around our form.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about mindset. You have Luana back. You have these Concacaf Championship games that are going to give them a little bit more of a morale boost, especially in the beginning before we face Club America and Pachuca. But um, like you said, it's consistency, right? I mean, we need to see a consistent, good rotation, and the players that come in deliver. And we need to stick to a plan, well structured plan. The good thing about the Pride right now, it's hopefully you also have Elise Bennett, and she's a
Yep,
player
she made
that
her debut.
she's a player that everywhere else she's been, she's really had maybe a couple of good looks, but not really been as consistent. Maybe this is for her the last team she can prove herself on. And why not provide the best version of Elise Bennett she's ever given? And again, so you said Simone Jackson, Simone Charlie. Also, the players are coming off the bench like Vib, for example, Luana,
Joanne.
Julie Doyle, Summer Yates. Like Summer Yates against Alajuelense was really dangerous in the
Yep.
first half.
Priska could make a difference here.
We need to do
There's a
press.
banda shaped hole up top. Someone's got to fill that.
Exactly. Yeah. So right now, the Pride has a lot of good pieces for the turnaround, but it's all again up to them, and also up to Seb to figure out what's the proper rotation in what specific games, right? Because
Yeah.
I mean, let's
I'm
say
glad
for
to see he
example,
trusts
John.
all of the squad. Like he's using all of the squad
Yeah.
right now.
So let's say John Orlando dips to seventh, and we go to the playoffs. And then, but in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, we are like undefeated.
Yeah.
And then we have the chance to play the final there and win the trophy.
Yeah.
Is that a positive?
I definitely think like other years, if we were in the, I think as long as we're in a positive place in the playoff race, when we get to some of those bigger Champions Cup games against the Mexican teams, I think at that point I would be like, I'm okay with playing the more rotated, game changer lineup in an NWSL game if we have to prioritize Champions Cup for one game or two right now so that we get through it. If that makes a difference between fifth or sixth in the
Right.
table, like really does it
Yeah.
matter that much? Like I want to be a top four team. I still think we can be a top four team.
Yeah, I agree
And
too.
I
I
that's
agree.
the really important thing for home advantage in the playoffs. That makes a difference, I think. So
Also, soccer culture wise, we are evolving as a city, and continuity and what the group is doing is also very important. If we just go and just say, oh, Seb's out, let's go and kill Seb, like it's just a little erratic in my opinion,
yeah,
with no disrespect. Let's say, for example, we reach the semis, going seventh or eighth in the playoffs in the NWSL, and then we get to win the Champions Cup. To me, without Banda, with players almost on the way out already, Ali Watt signing, I think, to me, it's positive. I think I can live as a fan
hmm,
with silverware, continent silverware, not just NWSL silverware, but continent silverware, and with a hope of having Ovalle, Banda, and probably Marta's last season, you know, in 2027 or 2026. Sorry, so and a new jersey too. You guys are
yeah,
gonna have the new away jersey. So
yeah. Season tickets got renewed yesterday. So
yeah.
I'm sure everybody wear that. If you're not, see it in your bank account. Yeah, I think what you said about Seb is true, and I think don't underestimate the partnership that he has with Haley. I think that's really important, and I think they have a great working relationship together, and that's not always the case between your GM and your head coach. So
Exactly,
I think that
exactly.
plays well into our
It's
hands, and
huge.
I also think, like I said on the last pod, that we're in the beginning stages of a rebuild, and I think that in the winter, we're going to see a lot more changeover and turnover in the squad. So, if maybe this Orlando Pride isn't the team this year, you could go into next year with, Marto, Valle, a healthy Banda, and, Luana, etc. Like Rafaeli. Like there's so many, you know, players coming back from injury, players that could or could not be here. So the squad
And
goes
then
very
and
different
then
next year
yeah, and then
than this
added
year, and
pieces,
see how Seb does with that.
and then also added pieces and more money because they're gonna get money for winning a trophy.
Yeah.
And again, Rome isn't been in a day, guys. Last season was magical. They delivered huge for the city in general, for soccer in general. Um, without any gender, soccer in general for the city. I think they were double champions. I think
Yeah.
maintaining a structure is huge in soccer. You see a lot of the huge teams in soccer, they don't keep dwindling down coaches all the time, like let's not become a team that is going to switch coaches like they switch underwear, you know what I mean? Let's actually build something good,
Yeah.
and I think we're poised to that. I think we have the core pieces this
Mhm.
year. Yeah, it's a little bit of a tough season, tough situation, a lot of injuries, a lot of players being stagnant a little bit, but I mean they're bound to bounce back, I feel. So
Yeah. I mean, it hasn't been great recently, but we are still fourth, right? We were second until recent. So it hasn't been a bad season by any means. It just hasn't been what last year was, and it was never gonna be what last year was. That was lightning in a bottle in a lot of ways. All right, let's move on and talk. Actually, before we do that, Luis, go ahead and read a few of the latest comments. We had a lot, but I don't think we want to go all the way back.
Shinta says, I want us to finish eighth just to take out KC in the first match. That'd be amazing. I'm with you on that. And then I'll make him play. Like I hold up the game, heat index and humidity. I hold them
Yeah.
out 5 hours instead of 3.
I mean, that would be some real, like, end of a self storylines. They'd love that with a,
Imagine.
8 seeded Orlando Pride immediately knock out first seeded KC Current. Yeah.
Yeah.
Marta does the baby again. That would
Imagine.
be great.
Shinta, Ludmilla signed through 26. If she keeps up the care form, she's gonna go for money. Yeah, but Orlando has that money. I think Orlando has that money. Historically, we've done very well in Cali. Yep, must win the all rest games to stay in the top four, says Elizabeth. Thank you. Some B team players should be getting time over the A team, in my honest opinion, says Shinta. Chicago have been playing spoiler. Yep. We dropped 6 or 7 without a win. Says Elizabeth, Chicago have been good lately. This is a trap game. These are all sad words. I agree. I think Chicago, we shouldn't be taking them lightly, but I mean, these are teams we have to beat.
Yeah, I mean Chicago, like they draw queens of NWSL right now. Like they draw against Gotham and then Bay and then the Rain and then North Carolina and then Washington Spirit. If I was, Ludmilla, I'd be pretty annoyed because like she got a hat trick in one game, they still didn't win. She's been scoring a lot of goals and they can't, keep him out of the net as well. If they could, they'd be in a lot better situation. They're definitely in some ways better than Utah, but also not at the same time. They have been on a good run of draws. Like they got a draw against the Spirit. That is definitely a good result. The 3-3 against North Carolina, that is a very good result for them. 3-3 away at Seattle Reign. But when you're down at the bottom of the table, draws away are a good result. I mean, I think you got to put it into perspective as to where they are in the rest of the table, and also really what they have in the team. We often talk about where are the threats. I mean, yes, they have a few of them, but it's not like they're overwhelming amounts. And I think compared to some of the other NWSL teams we played recently, they're definitely more manageable and definitely a team that we should be able to assert ourselves on with the players we have in our team and their ability on the ball. We should be able to outpossess and, look like a much more dominant team against Chicago. But, they're going to look for that counterattack, Luis, like Ludmilla and Schlegel, they're going to look on that counterattack. And we all know that Nair just is like the most annoying goalkeeper for us. We just always have a big problem scoring against her.
Yeah, I mean, against Ludmilla, we have to like. I like with what right here Elizabeth said that we have to play two center. I mean, like if I'm Haley, I'll be
She's been cooking,
targeting
yeah.
Ludmilla. I mean, she's a tremendous striker. I think she'd be a perfect partner for Banda right up top. I mean, that would be an unstoppable offense, dude. You imagine Obaya on your right, Banda and Ludmilla up front. Then on the left, you find like a top left winger, like
Yeah.
from Europe or something. I mean, that's a killer. That's
She's
another double on the
she's
rise.
been having a great season. Let's look
Yeah,
at her stats. She's got 9 goals on the
yeah.
year. This game against North Carolina, she got the hat trick. I mean, she's had these games where she gets these. I mean, look at the 9.5, 9.1 on FootMob. Like
And
she's been pretty consistent. I mean, she in the last 3 games she scored 5 goals. So I think she's likely to get one based on that form.
yeah, no, yeah, and again, playing possibly Marta's last year, and then playing in a team that won a double and hopefully a Concacaf Women's Champions Cup. Like that's huge. Like that's and in Orlando, like which is like mini Brazil half the time. I think it's a win-win. I think Ludmilla will come.
We'll see. But for right now, we're gonna have to deal with her
Ben
and
aquí,
the
Ben
uh,
aquí.
and the rest of the Chicago Stars. This was their lineup last game against Washington. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything else to say on this team. We see a lot of the NWSL teams. I think a lot of us know who they are and what they're about, especially at this point in the season. And Chicago, they're a team we can beat even away from home. We definitely should be able to beat this team. Of course, there's no easy games in this league, but we have the players to be able to go out there and look like the better team against Chicago. The question is, can we assert ourselves and score a goal first? Because in NWSL play, we've been conceding first all the time and chasing the game, and it's been a real trend. So I want to see us score that first goal like early in the game in the first half.
100%.
We didn't even do that against, in the Champions Cup against Alajuelense. Like we need to score early and then be able to dominate the ball, get a second goal, look confident. I want to see a game where we convincingly beat an NWSL side and look like, a dominant, strong team again in this league.
No, I agree with you 100% on there. Um, I think this is hopefully a turnaround. Again, they have the players. I think we the Pride has the players to make this happen. I think on paper, aside of Ludmila and and some key parts of their defense, I think we do have the versatility and the players to take W. So um, yeah, hopefully this is a game that we can bounce back and determines the rest of the season. We'll say, hey, the game, the turning point of events of 2025 was against Chicago. And hopefully that's the case.
I mean, earlier in the season, that the opening game, we absolutely smacked them 6-0. So let's do that again. That would be nice. All right, Luis, you want to read a few more comments and then let's do a lineup.
Yeah, it says KC cut French and have become unstoppable this year. What did we do? This is there you go. Can the Pride bring in an offensive specialist? All right. Our defense will contain Ludmilla, no doubt, if she scores, but it's due to a Morehouse blunder. We just got to put the ball in the net. Shinta says, I want to see more starts for Sarah. Got a good long ball and gives ahead for set pieces. Yeah, I think Sarah did great. Again, we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I think it's a team that we can definitely beat. Aside of Ludmilla, obviously, but um, what do we do? Well, I mean, I think like John was saying, I think we're in a rebuild kind of mode. I mean, like not to compare, but I guess I'm going to compare here. Same happened in the USL Super League, guys. Newcomers, Sporting Jacksonville. All most of their players are former Owls, Jacksonville University or whatever, University of Jacksonville, and they beat the Tampa Bay Sun at home, like the defending champs. It was a 3-2.
Mm.
So I mean, it's I think you know, I think we've dipped, but I think they have a. I mean, I think the whole Luana situation, plus added the new players, plus added all of that. It's also they're fighting for Banda. It's just all of that. I think it's bound to. It is a recipe for a rebound. So and that's what I hope to see. I'm hopeful. I'm not ready to throw the towel yet. Once I'm ready to throw the towel, Mishinta, I'll let you know.
Alrighty, the lineup for Chicago, I think it's going to be Morehouse. I think Abello, Strom, Haffa, and Sams. I mean, none of them. I mean, Sams came on, but none of the other three played. And then McCutcheon and Angelina, I believe, will be the two D mids. Marta will probably be in the 10. What do you think about right and left wing and striker? Do we
Yeah,
do we
look,
do we think we're still gonna see this where? Well, it was more like this, really, wasn't it? It's like this situation with Ali Limas playing as this sort of
no,
this forward here.
no, I don't
No,
think she had it. I don't
she
think she
did
had a
play
good.
last game
Yeah,
against
she
in
she
Champions
didn't.
Cup, so maybe she rests.
I think we need to put the players that. I think we need to put Jackson and Charlie in.
Yeah, I mean, I would really like to see this situation. Where is Jackson? You know, something like that.
Yeah,
Ma-
I will. I will like that.
The other thing is maybe Oyane plays and
or
Emily
maybe
gets at
Oyane
right
for
back.
or maybe Oyane for Watt.
Yeah, I mean, I think Priska could play here as well. We could see that.
Yeah, I will.
Luis is
In my opinion, I
not
will.
feeling the Priska.
Priska. I mean, with all due respect, great. But it's like in American Idol. It's a no for me, dog.
Maybe Julie gets back in it again. Maybe after that last win, Seb says, "All right, you scored a goal at striker. Let's leave you there."
Maybe.
I
Yeah. I
don't
mean,
know.
I
I think
think
for
Doyle.
sure we just don't know what our front three is, right? I mean, like the
I
back
think the two.
line, we're pretty sure. The D mids, we definitely know is going to be McCutcheon and Angelina. Martha's going to play. I'm just not sure about the wings and striker.
What's the? I think I don't know if Seb feels a little nervy with the injuries of Charlie
I think
before.
there is some concern over starting the Simones. Yeah,
And then just kill the game early.
maybe not
Like,
Jackson, but definitely Charlie.
I mean, I'll say then if you feel unconfident for Charlie, just have Doyle up there, Jackson, and then Ali Watt on the right.
Yeah, I
But
think that's very likely. I think that's a highly
I
likely
feel
lineup.
Jackson needs to play.
Yes, needs to
And if
start.
we see a partnership of Martin Jackson, like that would be magic in my opinion. Now, technically we would love to see Obaye, like I mean if
Yeah,
all this crap that's happening in the world, but I think Obaye would be. I mean, you just imagine. I mean, I think Julie would benefit so much as a striker to play with Jackson on one flank and with Obaye on the right, and then Marta in the middle. I think,
yeah,
and cause she has a nose for goal. I mean, she showed it again. All those crosses. So there's a connection between Simone and Julie. So I think if Seb wants to keep that going, I'll say do that. And
yeah.
then, put Charlie in the second half, give her 45 solid minutes. And hopefully she gets a goal as well because, I mean, she's been eyeing for that goal with the Pride for so long, too.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Ovai is going to come in and get one of these positions we feel as a starter straight off the bat. So I think Jackson knows that, I'm sure, and is trying to, I think, fight for one of these wing positions to be hers. I think it very exciting if you've got Simone Jackson and Jackie Ovalle on your two wings is two very dynamic 1v1 wingers. You can take somebody on, Marta feeding them balls.
Yeah.
And then like we talked about the nine, like it couldn't be Simone Charlie, can it be Julie Doyle, can it
It could
be
be
Priska
Elise
Chukra?
Bennett.
Maybe it's striker by committee, maybe it just rotates, but
Yeah.
whoever that is, I think we need to figure out how it's going to work. And kind of like I talked about before as well, I'm a little bit concerned about Marta this year. So, maybe Luis, maybe we're looking something more like this, where Marta's on the bench and Jackie Ovalle is our new number 10 and Marta's coming off the bench. I mean,
I feel like
at
there's gonna
some
be some.
point,
I
it's
feel like
gonna
there's gonna.
happen.
Yeah, I feel like there's gonna have to be some games that we play like that. But I feel like with a player like Jackson and with a player like Obaye and Martin in the middle, you can get the unpredictability of all three of them in transition, switching positions.
Yeah.
So you can hit them like different ways. Like Marta could be on the right on one transition, Obaye could be in the middle, Simone on the left, then Simone will be like on the 10, Obaye on the left. Like, I mean, that is gonna drive people insane. That's what the Pride was doing in 2024. That was one of the signature success tactical things that Seb did because Banda was just so unpredictable that no one knew how to. And then Marta was in top shape, and it also, like you said, it made Marta play a little bit more free, no so tactically ingrained on one position. And I think when you give Martha kind of like an artist, an open canvas, like she's just gonna draw a beautiful picture. So maybe that's it. But again, like you said, she's a player that's coming on the end of her career, even though she's an icon. And yeah, I mean, there's gonna be games, like you said, John. It's gonna be Ovalle taking the reins with, you know, Julie Doyle and Simone Charlie. It's gonna
Yeah.
happen.
I think Jackson for sure is the one that we all think should start. If Simone Charlie's fit enough too, I would definitely start her. Start the Simones. I'm all for it. All right, Luis, let's get a score prediction in here against Chicago. What you got?
Um, I'll say it's gonna be in Chicago, so I'll say 2-1 Pride.
Yeah, I can see that. I think that's very likely. I'm gonna go 3-1, just in the hopes that
33-1.
yeah, thirty-three to
That's
one.
amazing.
I'm gonna go 3-1 in the
30
hopes
goals by
that
Priska.
that would be incredible. In the hopes we,
Golden boot. Golden boot. Lewis,
like
it's your fault.
we saw some goals in Champions Cup, but before that, we haven't scored multiple goals since we beat the Utah Royals back in I don't know how long ago that was. Like in NWSL play, we had one goal in all of these games that we played. So let's at least get two. Let's get three. Lou Miller's probably going to get one based on what we've seen. So,
And,
there we
and, and I
go.
think Miss Elizabeth was saying something really interesting too, which I think Seb really needs to. I don't know if it's his assistant coach or I don't know who's handling the set pieces, but set pieces are a chance for goal all the time. And if the Pride gets in the mojo of scoring offset pieces and be a threat, we could we could have the first shot. We can have the first goal and then control the game. At that point, I'm not saying that we should score a set piece goal in every game, but I mean it would be nice for us to be known as one of our many threats, the set piece game. And I think it's possible. We have a lot of good players with size, like Priska, for example, Simone Charlie, Julie Doyle, even Ohaine, Oyane can do something like that. Um, we have the center backs too. Emily Sams has a nose for goal. Raffaeli has score of set pieces. Ali Limos. So I think maybe staying a little late after practice, doing some set piece game, I think it'd be great. I think it'll be a peace of mind for the offense, just to you imagine if we win a game kind of like the Uruguayans or the Argentinians win games, sometimes just all offset pieces and zero game at all. Sometimes you result to that. Not everything is so nice like the Brazilians with all this flair and motion, or like the Spaniards with the tiki taka stuff.
Or you want some
Soccer's
like real English 4-4-2 smack it tactics?
like a Middlesbrough against Stoke City type of game, and like in the middle of like
Yo,
five,
why is Stoke always getting the hate, bro?
like with Peter Crouch, like everything will feed Peter Crouch. Feed Crouch of the set piece. He's 7 feet. He can head the ball.
Uh, Luis, you crack me up. All right. You want to read a few more comments before we get out of here?
No, Sitch says Lewis can see you. Yeah, sorry, man, I'm sick. It says over 9,000 to 1. Yeah, there you go, Shinta. Lewis can see you under the screen. Yeah, it's just my face, man. I'm sorry.
We're
Please
about
turn
to
it.
wrap up, Stitch, as well, bud.
Yeah, man. Go ahead, John.
I just want to point out all of our socials, let everybody know where we all are so you can follow us. Of course, you can follow Loud and Proud Orlando on X, but you can also follow Luis. You can follow him, but he is posting as Loud and Proud Orlando a lot of the time, but he also posts himself. I post on X all the time. You can follow me, John Rollins at OCSC here. And both of us and Loud and Proud Orlando all post in other places like on Blue Sky. So if you're a Blue Sky person, you want to follow us there, you can do that and you can interact on Blue Sky. Also on Threads. So if you're like an Instagram and a Facebook person, you can follow us and the podcast on Threads. And of course, Luis does a great job with the LPO Instagram with all the stories and everything that happens on there, Facebook, all of that stuff. It's all in that world. One more thing, I also have another podcast called Forever a Lion, which is all about Orlando City players, ex Orlando City players and people around the club. It's just about, the Orlando City stories. Luis did a great episode on there. So if you want to learn more about Luis personally, you can. Also, Scott Sutter, I did an episode with him, who is one of the Pride coaches. Kay Rollins, of course, the founder of the club, founder of Orlando Pride. You can go check out those if you're interested in some more content there as well. So all of those things, we got so many things we do in so many different places, Luis, for all the socials. So check us out.
Yeah, we wanted to thank you for all the interactions. Like we've been doing really well, I just think on all platforms. So thank you for your support. I also want to give thanks to the Facebook group, like the Orlando Pride discussion group. Like they've been really nice to allowing us to post our links and stuff. So we thank you for that because that really makes a hell of a difference in the discussion. So thank you to Kim and everybody there for doing such a great job. Just kind of having the community uh, on the knowing of all Orlando Pride, and you know, we're definitely gonna continue doing some more of the Pride content. We just did a playlist for the Concacaf 2025 Women's Champions Cup stuff. The post presser, it's there translated in English for the Alajuelense coach if you're interested in that as well. And also USL Super League, um, Tampa Bay Sun. If you want to follow former Pride players, they're right there too, on the playlist there for the channel. And so we hope that. Yeah, I think there's another USL team showing up for the men's next year, I believe, for Winter Garden.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't. So maybe for the women, they'll get another one too. So we're competitor to the Pride. It'd be
For
crazy.
sure. Sidge saying, "Hi John, how do you do that? What's your phone number and email?"
There you go.
Sidge, you can message me, buddy, on any of the social
Number
platforms,
is.
and I will message you back. I
I
promise.
give you.
But
I
you don't
give
need
you
my
his number.
email and my phone number. Love you though.
There you go, my friend.
Alrighty. Thank you to everybody who was here today for that was our first ever CCC Pride episode, Luis. We've never talked about Orlando Pride in the Champions Cup. Julie Doyle scored our first ever goal in
That's
Champions Cup.
awesome.
This is historical stuff here. People are going to look back years from now and be like, "Whoa, the first ever Orlando Pride Champions Cup game. Who knew?"
Yeah, it's funny because one of the first official interviews I got for a Pride player. So I was the first journalist that was able to interview Julie Doyle when she first joined up the draft. So like, I mean, I remember her like, and she made such an immediate impact when she came in. It's awesome to follow her career, and then especially the moment when she won the double, that was fantastic. So yeah, thank you guys for all your support.
Sidge, do not put your phone number there, buddy. Please, no. We
No,
don't
please
do not put
don't
your phone
no
number.
no please don't put your phone number, bro.
We love you, Sidge. All right,
I
we got
love
to
you,
get
man.
out of here. It's been a great podcast. Thank you all for being here. And Vamos Pride.
Almost Pride. Take care, guys.